Hey guys, welcome to the Crypto Lab with Alex, featured by Trading Analysis. Let's review a little bit of a macro picture. Lots of events this couple of days. Rates has been going up and down, and we have seen a major volatility in most of the asset classes due to this banking crisis. And this is still not finished. We still don't know the depth of it. ECB just raised rates 50 basis points amidst of this crisis. And Lagarde was relatively clear that they're looking the situation and ready to help. We already have heard this morning that the Credit Suisse has emergency I think it's around 50 billion financial injection from the Swiss central banks. So market is trying to guess where the central banks will go, especially Fed. Are they going to hike, or they're going to stop hiking and actually reverse the interest rate policy? We have seen the CPI moving lower from 6.4 to 6%. Which is good in this situation. Let's see what the market is pricing in for the next Fed meeting. We're going to look our CME Fed watch tool. This was very volatile in the last couple of days. We have been moving up. Basically, I think yesterday we were at 54.6% that we're going to stay at 450, 475. Then 1 week ago we were 31%. We will go and stay actually at the same rates, and also move to 50 basis points has been also pretty volatile. 1 week ago it was 31.7, then 54.8, and now it's 76.0. I think that let me just refresh this. I think this also jumped because of the ECB movement on the upside. Let me see what's going on here. Yeah, so now we have basically the same picture, 76.0 for 25 basis point move. And then if we switch to May, we are looking for 48.6% that Fed is going to hike 25 basis points. 42.8% that we are going to stay at the same if they move for 25 basis points, so between 475 and 5, and 8.7% that they're going to stay on the same. So basically, I think we're going to see Jerome Powell looking in a financial system and the current crisis. They already offered a window for the emergency banking lending. They also kind of a bailout the two troubled banks. We have seen the news, and President Joe Biden also went public saying that the banking system is solid and the deposits are protected. So let's see. I still think we are not out of this. Maybe for even more couple of days. We don't know the depth of it, so we are going to see. But definitely I think the press conference will be pretty important, how the US Fed is seeing the situation. So market is pricing 25 basis point move, and now the target rate is actually at 475 to 5 since inflation moved lower. So how that actually goes with the dollar, let's see what's going on in the dollar index. So pretty much we went down when the rates plummeted. So we have seen a major move down in rates over the last couple of days, pretty sizable moves. Rates doesn't move that much, so as you can see we are trading on a 10-year at 3.38. It's even going further lower, which actually invalidates this triangle, so almost. So we're gonna have to push this way for here if this is not a high. So we will see how this will unfold. And also on European rates, I think yesterday we have dropped pretty significantly, but we came back I think now situation is pretty much the same. We are at 2.13, which is basically a completely different picture than what the central banks or ECB are telling us. So we are far below current 3%. So we will see if this will actually materialize on a further weakness to the downside in yields. As the S&P and Nasdaq is concerned, we are going back and forth, so nothing significantly. Most likely the immediate bullish wave count is coming to the question with this crisis, but what we have seen last time from our last crypto lab is a nice move up in total crypto market cap and Bitcoin, and this was something which also we have looked on the previous crypto labs. We look this as a 5 waves up, complex pullback, and then continuation to higher levels, which is actually now materializing on all fronts on cryptos, because cryptos are a risk on or assets class, which means that market is now actually pricing that Fed is going to stop hiking or even reverse their rate policy, which is actually beneficial for the cryptos on the further developments on the upside, as it was our case for Bitcoin and Ether and a couple of other cryptos. So let's go over the Bitcoin chart. The main move up from our support levels presented on the last crypto lab. Let me just see what's going on here. I have highlighted this zone the last time. So it was a complex WXY towards this 20,000 resistance levels. If you follow me on Twitter, you can see that I have posted pre and post developments in a Bitcoin. So from these lows, we have seen a nice 5-wave move up development with a complex corrective pullback, and then now we are looking for a wave 1 development on the upside. I don't think the correction on the downside is still done. So if we go on a smaller time frame, I think that the first 5-wave moves on the upside are exhausted. So I think we are done with the first rally on the upside. We definitely saw a 5-wave move on the downside. So I think we are in some type of a triangulation or some type of a complex correction for either here or a little bit more higher, from where I think we're going to see another push down to 23 or to 22K. Okay, so usually if this turns out to be a triangle, intermediary B wave or X wave triangles tend to have 0.618 or equality ratio compared to this wave A. So 0.618 ratio comes at 23,309, and equality ratio comes at 22,484 with a 50% retracement around 23K. For now, this looks very corrective. I will not ascribe to these developments here any impulsive development. So as you can see, we are pretty much going sideways, which means that this is some sort of a corrective pullback in a sense of a sideways manner, which might be, as I said, a triangle or some type of a complex WXY. So this can be a first part, we can be an intermediary triangle in the X wave. You never know with these things how they will unfold, and we might go higher for the potential B wave, and then we might continue further lower. So either from here or a smaller triangle in B wave or something more complex, and I will show you how that can unfold. This can be some type of a complex combination. So W, some type of an X wave, either in triangle or already finished here, and we have some type of a Y wave going higher. So it's really hard to say at this moment. So I really don't know. I don't have enough information to recognize the full pattern, but I will stay with the triangulation currently until we invalidate some of the upper levels. But I do see this being corrective for now. I don't see any impulsive development yet on the upside, so we will need to go above 786 here to actually invalidate this observation, and this might get us maybe a little bit higher. So here is the level, so 25,822 and 25,416 will be my last resort levels, where I will start to suspect that this part here is not a correction, and we had a pretty big A up in B and down in C, which is a pretty rare event. So I'm still looking for this triangulation. As long as we trade below this A wave, which comes, I will tell you the exact levels on this Binance data. So highs of the A wave comes at 25,200. Okay, so I'm still looking what is going to unfold here, but overall this is a pretty nice development from our support zone in 5 waves up. So I think after this pullback is done, or it's already done here, which I think it's a less probability, but anyhow I think we're going to continue higher, especially after the Fed meeting next week. We might see of course some of the market dumping Bitcoin before the Fed, and then after the Fed we might see a beginning of further developments on the upside. So as I said, here I'm looking this more modestly. I'm relatively conservative in nature. I don't want to still beat the drums that this is going to be a 5-way move further on the upside, so I'm always cautious about that. So I'm going to look for a ABC, and if you calculate and if you put some of the ratios here, you will see that equality from this will come around 31 or 32K. So if we are in an ABC, we should be able to reach 32K, but now we have some nuances here, because you see how this equality ratio is very close here, and we already have a very strong and big wave 1. Usually that is not the case when you have this type of corrections. This means that the wave 3 and wave 1 should be smaller. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's not the usual case. So I'm gonna be looking for either a C wave or a first wave up, which will be developments of a higher degree, wave 3 already from these levels, pullback in a wave 4 and wave 5 towards 100K or above as we go in 2024. So all depends, I think, on the central banks, and are they going to inject another liquidity into the system, or a new round of liquidity, depends how deep the crisis is, or they're going to announce actually that they're going to stop raising rates, and that we are going to in a neutral mode, especially to see the further data as the CPI is moving lower, and also is this crisis relatively deep enough for them to cut rates actually close to end of 2023. So we will see. That is still stays in the question. So our Ethereum chart also works fine from our presented levels last time. This correction has been unfolded pretty nicely. So we have a 1, 2 up in 3, 4 and 5, also a complex pullback down to the zone 1400, 1428 and 1453. So you have a clustering of this couple of fib ratios, which provided we went a slightly lower, but with cryptos that's kind of a normal thing. You're going to have an overshoot because markets and liquidity makes the environment that you might have a slight overshoot, but we came back very strongly. And if we go on a smaller time frame, we are already in a 5-way move on the upside. So I'm still looking this as in Bitcoin. So 5 waves up. Okay, so that's very visible. We have a 5 waves down in A. So A, B, potentially C, D, and E, or some type of a complex correction in a B wave. So I think we're going to reach 1565 depends where we actually place this B wave, so we will see that. But if we stay in a triangle, 1585, 1607 for 0.618 relation between A and C, I think will be valid. 50% retracement is at 1580. So in my opinion, I'm going to stay to look this still as a bullish developments as I was looking, and I already marked long time ago this as a wave 1 and 2, and this is another wave 1 and 2, and this is another wave 1 of 2, which is a very rare situation, and that calls for explosive move on the upside in Ether. I'm going to stay with this wave count because the things are developing in line of that. So as you can see here, and you put this trend line, you will see actually that I was explaining on the last Crypto Lab that this diminishing volatility, which we have seen here, is going to make some explosive move either on the upside or on the downside. So I don't think this is a triangle. That's first to clear that out. I'm just looking how the volatility from the big swings came smaller and smaller, and while the FTX collapse was unfolding, Ether was holding itself above these lows, which was not the case with many cryptos. And now from this wave 2 we have another 1-2-1-2. So I think after this correction is done, we might be potentially on a breakout of this relatively huge resistance levels, which is marked about from this trend line. So as you can see, it goes from the highs, almost 4,800. It goes to this B wave, and now it's actually stopped this wave one on a smaller degree to continue higher, and we reversed from it. So just to show you a smaller picture, we broke it just a touch and then reversed immediately back down, and I still think this correction is not done. So I identified this as a very nice support level here around this 50% area. So as you can see, before it was acting as a nice support level. All of these levels that you see before, where we stopped actually. So we went down here, we went up, down, up, and then we crossed it a touch, then we came back, and then again to it, cross it, and we stopped also here. So this is from several instances a pretty strong level around this 1,600 area, and I think this one will hold, and from there we might see a continuation of this breakout on the upside, which I think it's going to produce a relatively sizable move, and it's going to cement potentially the further uptrend on the upside. So conditions that are there in a sense that central banks are going to slow down or completely stop with the rates on the upside. So I think that the macro picture, inflation is moving lower, and we are setting ourselves up here for a potential, depends even if this crisis deepens and central banks are obliged to support more as a lender of the last resort, this will produce, at least on cryptos, a pretty sizable move on the upside. So even we are mostly negative in the events, this can produce liquidity moving back into the system, which will definitely be reflected on a positive side in cryptos and potentially growth stocks in US, and we might see a big breakouts on the upside. So that's just a theory for now. I do try to match my macro observations with the wave counts, and actually this is the wave count which depicts this opinion, and that is reflected in this 1-2 and the continuation on the upside levels. So other cryptos also functions pretty nicely. So I have posted also Polkadot, on my Twitter. So I do think we are in some type still. If the Bitcoin starts to move down, this is still not done. So wave count invalidation is here. If we start moving further above this wave count, so this will be either some complex consolidation, or the Polkadot will already make some type of a wave 1, and while the Bitcoin moves down, to complete its correction, it's going to do a wave 2. So I still don't have a visibility. We already made a nice pullback, so this needs to stay above these levels and continue a touch lower. If the Bitcoin and cryptos and Ether rolls over and make a little bit more downside. Otherwise, if we cross this, I will be looking potentially this to outline as some type of a leading diagonal. So I have to go into it and see it. But I think it's too early for that. So I'm waiting to see what is going to happen here. This is just an ABC completed here, and we are already starting to move on the upside. But this, I mean, it's just the beginning of this uptrend. Polkadot has been crushed down to 786, almost from 54, 56 down to almost 4. So from there we have a leading diagonal in 1, 3 waves down, 3 waves up, 5 waves down in wave 2, and now we are seeing some type of an impulsive price action, either to see or further higher. So I think there is still time. I usually look at higher time frames, higher charts, because they give me orientation and visibility. And if really Polkadot is going to move further on the upside, with the rest of the cryptos, we will see 1, 2, up in 3, 4, and 5, then a pullback, and then a continuation. So that's relatively simple. Our Binance coin chart also went pretty nicely from the E-wave triangle completion. Here we have initial 5 waves up, as you can see. So I'm still continuing to look this as a higher degree wave 1, and we might be just in the beginning of it. So if you subdivide this will be some type of a wave 1. Maybe we go to a certain pullback in a wave 2. We go up in a wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5. So that will be a certain confirmation of a triangle breakout, especially above this line. I do think we're going to correct and set Binance coin to further a little bit lower levels before we break out. But you never know with these things. Who knows? We will see how that will unfold. Sorry about that. So also Matic also exhibited nice support levels here for the wave 2, and we have an impulsive move on the upside. So this still functions well for the potential breakout higher and a continuation of this. Sorry about these labels. Sometimes I put them right, and when I open the platform, they appear completely messed up. Yeah, so if this rally starts and really refreshes the crypto buying, it will last for a year and a half. We have a halving of a Bitcoin next year, so we might be with these developments, if they appear like this, well into April, June 2024, until we actually trace out this 5th wave on the upside. So we will see that, but for now I'm still going to stay relatively bullish, because all of this wave count starts to improve as we thought. We don't have a wave degree invalidation here. This move down is not longer than this one, so that's fine to label this as a 1, 2, 1, 2, and from there we see upside. If we break these lower levels, that will actually make me to change my mind and to rephrase this wave count, and I will have to do a little bit different perspective. But for now, looking the lower time frames, from these developments, we have a nice 5 waves up. Potentially correction is done, but this doesn't look so convincing here to me. I still think we may be going to do something more complex. So this is still not something which, even if I go on a 15-minute time frame, I don't see. I mean, let's see if there is something here. So maybe 5 waves up, maybe a wave B in a diagonal, and then X, ABC. So I'm not very sure that this looks for now that impulsive. So potentially this might not be all of a corrective pullback that we will see, but of course the previous price action looks impulsive, and this is a part of a correction, so I'm still gonna look for a continuation, possible continuation on the upside after this correction is actually resolved. So that's it, guys, from me. Let me see your questions and comments. Zeus, I'm still bullish on Polkadot as I reflected on these charts. My Twitter handle is here, so you can look at it below my face. This is TA FX Crypto Lab. So this is my Twitter handle here. I don't think this is the X wave. X waves in Bitcoin can be violent, but I never witnessed the X wave going above a new high. Okay, so usually X waves stop here, but here we have a new high. You will usually not see in this type of developments the X wave. Okay, it needs to be more choppier, more angle of ascent. Although X waves might be sharp, but I will definitely not classify this as an X wave. Okay. Kevman, I already explained my macro outlook, so that kind of fits these wave counts. Hey Schnitzel, Kava. Okay, let's look Kava. Let me just, I don't know if we looked at before. So, yeah, from these lows, we can say we have some type of developments on the upside. Let me see the larger picture. Oh my God! So this went exactly to C wave. Phew, crazy. We didn't break out down. So I don't know if this is just a 3-wave move. I will need to see more. For now, this looks like a 3-wave move. So for this one, I will look for a support here. So that's relatively simple if you look from the perspective of the upside. So this needs to either from here or from a little bit lower, we need to see some type of a continuation. So if we put this in a not this smaller correction but a higher one in the corrective channel, you will see that we are still kind of trapped in it. So I need this one to break further on the upside in impulsive fashion from here to actually try to look for a 5-wave development. So for now, we don't see that, even if this is a wave 1 here, and this is a wave 2. So this is a beginning of the wave 3. We need to see confirmation by breaking out of this channel, and then a full 5-wave swings that this crypto convinced me it's going to continue on the upside. So for now, we don't have that. I mean, I never react in this type of a patterns. I have enough patience, and market learned me to wait for some type of a confirmation of a more probability on our side, and that I can actually consider this to be some type of a 5-wave move, pullback, and a continuation depth. For now, we don't have that. Okay, so let me just glare that chart for you that you can see more clearly. But here we don't see any of the bullish development yet. Okay, so this can easily turn lower. So we will see. So this is still not this is still not a done deal on the upside. Okay, so the next question, got it. Thanks, Alex. You just answered my question. Yeah, Anne is asking, hi, Anne, how are you? Hi, Alex, would you say there is already enough confirmation? Yeah, I will say there is enough confirmation, at least in my point for now. I still think, I mean, longer term hold, 32 is my key levels. If we pass that, then I can say that most likely longer term hold will be validated, okay? I don't know about that, Timmy. Okay, let's see what you're saying. I usually don't. Okay, so let me see what you mean. So this is W, this is X, so we go Y. This is market cap. Okay, so just let me get the Bitcoin chart. What's wrong with this? Yeah, I mean, for me, that's the current price action. I mean, yeah, you can play with the wave counts as much as you like, but if this is a X wave in a flat, I don't think so. I mean, for this, you will need a straight 5 waves down, lower, and a pullback. So for now, we don't see that development. So I'm not the guy who is going to throw any wave counts at you, which was not supported by any meaningful story. For me, this wave count doesn't have any justification for now, either technically or from the macro perspective. So I don't know. I mean, you can play with the wave counts as much as you like. That doesn't mean they're gonna unfold, you know. So you have to kind of be flexible. I never say it's not possible. I'm just saying we are not seeing any technical, and we are not seeing any macro for now. Inflation is slowing. Fed is probably gonna stop. We are in crisis, so liquidity is coming back. So I don't see the reason why this will unfold, at least in current moment. So I mean, most of the things we imagine might happen according to our bias might be a wishful thinking, you know. You'll never hear me that I'm saying something is impossible, but this wave count doesn't rooted or supported currently in any technicals or let alone macro. Okay. Well, there is always a way, if you have such a developments, to make the bearish case. I mean, yeah, but you need to support that by real price action. So for now, the developments here doesn't justify any of that. So 5 waves down from here actually will make me wonder if this is possible. Okay, so if we go back down from these levels to 20K in straight 5 wave move, then something is fishy there with the bullish outlook. So that's why I'm always cautious. Okay, so I'm looking inside what's going on. Okay, let's look this one. It's ENG. Let me see if we have something on it. No, we don't. So 5 waves up, ABC, A, triangle B down in C. So possibly you have initial 5 waves up there, 1, 2, up in 3, 4, and 5, ABC pullback. So maybe 1, 2. So we need to stay in this area around 3. Let me just show it. So this correction might be the same one. So usually when you have something like this might be an A, B, C, D, and E, a potential triangle in B wave, and then we go down in C wave in 5 ways. So so this looks something like this. And then let's inspect the ratio. We talked about that. I think this one goes to equality. It maybe even overshoot that. So let me, I'm very curious. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Actually, we came to equality almost exactly. So we talked about that earlier on the stream, that this usually comes to equality level, and we came exactly to there, as you can see. So if this is some type of a beginning of a higher uptrend, we can even prolong this to these lows, 5 waves up. So if you want to stay bullish, you can expect a small pullback and a continuation. If this drops further lower, then this is something else. Okay. I keep pressing this first button. I don't know why. Okay, guys. So thank you on the your presence, of course, in the stream. So I'm gonna continue to monitor that for our members. If you're keen to have a guidance on cryptos, you can check us out at tradinganalysis.com. We have a trial, and we do a lot of stuff there for members. And of course, you are entitled to any chart, wave count, and comments from me that you are interested and you put out there in our Discord channel. So you can click the like button for us or subscribe, and see you next week, guys, in Crypto Live with Alex. Bye bye.